To the Sons of Anarchy roundtable discussion. I want to introduce the cast, starting with Mr. Perlman.
Ron Perlman, Clay Morrow.
Charlie Hunnam, Jackson Teller.
Theo Rossi, Juice.
Tommy Flanagan, Chibs.
Brian Hurst, Opie.
Mark Boone Jr., Bobby.
Bill Lucking, Piney Winston.
Taylor Sheridan, Hale.
Dayton Cali, Chief Unser.
Katie Segal, Gemma Teller-Morrow.
Maggie Siff, Tara Knowles.
And Kurt Sutter. In absentia is Kim Coates, who, where's Kim? He's in...
Canada.
Oh, Canada.
Maple Leaf in somewhere.
I'm going to start with some general questions, and these are really sort of for everyone to sort of jump in and weigh in on. What was the most uncomfortable scene you had to shoot? I'm going to start with Theo.
Over the first two seasons, or
on this show.
Let's the most uncomfortable scene that I had to shoot, without a doubt.
Finger in the asshole.
That's up there, but no, I would just say the diaper was pretty embarrassing, but I'd say the prison one, because he was definitely a method actor and he was very into it.
What method was he using?
He was really into it. Yeah. I actually get embarrassed talking about it. So yeah, that's it. Short answer. It was the prison scene.
Well, you have to tell the audience why it was uncomfortable. What was the activity of the scene?
It did, just want to really get into the scene and
He was seducing you, right?
You were being sent. Oh, come on.
I was being set up, by you guys
as bait,
as juice bait, as it was described.
For a person who had a predilection for
Puerto Rican men.
Puerto Rican men. Now we get to the bottom.
Right, and yes.
And he was very disappointed.
You were being sent in as a boy toy.
Yeah. It was. So
And he
it
was
just,
a large man.
He was a very large man, and he was, like I said, he was very, very into character. Why does your mind go right in the gutter when I said he was a large man?
I was born in.
He was, but yeah. So it was very uncomfortable. That's it.
Well, what about you, Tommy? Any uncomfortable scenes that you had to shoot?
Not one. I've had the perfect 2 seasons. I've never been embarrassed or done anything wrong, apart from when...
from what you can remember.
Well, I can remember. What show was this again? I felt like such an idiot when I tried to do a trick that one of the real riders, the good riders on the show did. And I tried to roll in on my bike, stand on the pegs, and then I turned around and just fell out. That was a tad embarrassing. Sorry, can't be more interested. But
That was you. What about the ladies? What about you, Katie?
Well, I had quite a few uncomfortable moments, I'd say, in the season. Well, certainly the rape scene was, even though it was very well choreographed, so I knew what was going to happen in advance, but that was definitely that was an uncomfortable situation to be put in, and it hurt, actually, physically hurt having my hands tied like that. So there was that, and actually a lot of the aftermath wasn't that it was uncomfortable, it was just vulnerable, that's what I would say.
Cool.
That's what I'd say.
That question was from Anissa.
oh,
That's
there
all
you
I
go,
know.
Lisa.
This question is from KG, who asks, which actor is most like or unlike their character on the show?
Oh.
Ron, why don't you start? Who do you, in your opinion?
I feel like I'm as unlike my character as any character I've ever played, personally. I hate bikes. I'm terrified of bikes. I'm not ashamed to say it. It's season 3 and I still hate bikes. Maybe more than ever. And I'm playing a guy who really doesn't have any sense of humor about himself. Who's a my way or the highway kind of guy. And
No, it's unlike.
Anyway, that's my fucking answer. Charlie Hunnam will amend it, I'm sure, to his liking. You got a better answer, son?
I think, not about me, I think Emilio is the guy who's most like his character on the show, and it's always tough to work with Emilio because we're a bunch of pussies. Excuse me, Bill. Bill excluded.
Excuse me.
And Tommy
Thank
on his
you,
good
yeah.
days. But, you know, trying to
Fantastic.
act like tough guys, and Emilio's a really tough guy acting like himself, and, you know, it always kind of shines the light on how, you know, soft we are when we have to go up against that guy.
He's very sweet, though, too, I must
very
say.
sweet.
I mean, he's a tough guy.
He's
Sweetheart.
He's actually
Beautiful
reformed
guy.
from a life very similar to the one he
Right.
plays
He's
on
very
the show.
unlike who he is
And he
on the
turned
show.
he turned so 180 against
That was
what
the
he
worst
once
answer
was.
I've ever heard.
Yeah, it was bad. It was bad, I know.
I'd
but-
apologise.
I'm sorry, Emilio. It was actually supposed to be a compliment. It just came out all wrong.
No, it was. It's, you know, Emilio comes from the life. Boone, what's your hit on that in terms of you? Unlike Bobby?
You know, Bobby is somehow sort of a guy who kind of tries to live with the principles of what the club is about to some degree, you know, and tries to be good. I mean, try to help people through certain kinds. I don't know, that he's a tool, really. I mean, I think Bobby is a tool in sort of in the context
This
of
might
the
take a
group.
while.
You mean expediting the agenda of the club, you mean?
Yeah, that's what it feels like to me.
Right,
I mean,
right.
you know, I don't know how that. I mean, in some ways, that's reflective of some of the things that I do in my own life. But with a lot of you know people, I seem to run into a lot of people who need a lot of help through the course of my life. You know, and you know, somehow try to help them somehow. But you know, I like bikes. You know, and you know, that's no problem for me. I mean, I really have taken to the bike life in some way, riding a bike. I love the freedom of the bike, being in the wind.
That's cool. What's your hit on that in Dayton? And
Yeah, I feel pretty at home
yeah.
with what you write. And
On, you know, as far as who you are as a, yeah.
yeah, I think so. I mean, of course, I'm probably got a little darker side.
No, I'm sure.
I think so.
This question comes from Jared. If you could change characters for one day, who would you play? Katie Segal.
Who would I play?
Yes. Male, female.
No, who would I play? Oh, that's so interesting. Actually, I think, they're all looking at me like, pick me. Pick me.
I'm trying to think of mine.
Who would I play? I might play your part, Kurt. No.
Oh, love.
No, I don't know. I think I might play Charlie. I mean, Jax. I think that, you know, I can't tell if that's my motherly thing coming through, but I think Jax is a very noble character, and I think that the conflict that he has, you know, I think is kind of what we all have. You know, his sort of, you know, am I doing the right thing? Is this the wrong thing? You know, where he comes from. So I think that'd be interesting.
How about you, Meg?
I think I'd probably pick Gemma. I know I should pick a boy, but that's what flashed into my mind first. And I just want to say that I think Katie is the furthest from her character in the sense that she is sort of the love and light, and Gemma is maternal in a similar way, but mean. And I don't
Well, I think she's kind of love and light.
you're mean. Yeah, she is in her own dark way.
Right.
But I love how the sweetness and the cruelty can just like change on a dime in her character, and I think it's really fascinating, and sort of how her loyalty is like slammed down on certain things, and like is sort of the love and light, and Gemma is maternal in a similar way, but mean. And I don't
Well, I think she's kind of love and light.
you're mean. Yeah, she is in her own dark way.
Right.
But I love how the sweetness and the cruelty can just like change on a dime in her character, and I think it's really fascinating, and sort of how her loyalty is like slammed down on certain things, and like really lift and open other things is pretty fascinating.
What about you, Bill? If you could play any other character. for a day, who would it be?
I think I'd like to play the I can't remember his name, unfortunately. But the guy with had his fingers cut off.
Oh, Chucky.
Chucky, yeah. I relate more and more to him and his problems as I get older. There's fewer opportunities. You know, you got to have other outlets. You got to really think about this and
Losing things.
Yeah, and I think he's really gotten a plan together, and I like it. You know, everybody treats him pretty well, and then they kill him, which is going to work out that way anyway. So.
Oh, that's fantastic. What about you, Charlie?
I don't know really. Yeah, no, I couldn't do Theo. I couldn't do Juice. I don't know. Maybe Bobby. He's always he's one of my favorite characters on the show, and I don't know if it's because so much of Boone comes through in that character, but I always just like the way Bobby navigates through this world, and I guess Bobby.
What if you had to look like him, though?
I'm trying. That's my goal every day.
What about you, Ryan?
Kid Bob.
Bill totally took my fucking answer. Really? Totally took my answer.
I would pick Bobby too, if I could choose a character to play. And Bobby. Yeah. Bobby to me is is sort of the conscience of the club. What about you?
I'd want to play the part that what's his name played? Tom Arnold played.
Georgie.
Yeah. Porn King. I see.
And we'll leave it there.
I don't know why.
This from Star in Edinburgh, Texas.
Edinburgh.
Edinburgh. Do you feel you've gained the respect from the biker community? And if so, why? Charlie, why don't you field that one first?
I think we have, in a nutshell. I think that, that the storylines we tell are the kind of a heightened reality, a heightened version of the reality, but we get away with it because I think it's grounded in a lot of authenticity and a lot of real detail. And I think that you've done, a really fantastic job in kind of negotiating those parallels. But, my experience from everybody that I've come across, obviously there's occasionally, things that people would like to see more of or less of. But on a whole, I think that we really have gained the respect of the biker community.
Kurt spent a very respectable amount of time in a highly respectable manner, letting some of the, people in the community who are high-profile people know that this was going to be more of an homage than an exploitation, and got their blessings and said, I really want to spend time studying this. I want to get this right. I don't ever want to do anything that's just going to be gratuitous. And the sense that I have, and I've been lucky enough to really travel a lot over the last couple of years. Everywhere I go, when they find out I'm in town, the MCs reach out and they want to hang out and they want to express their gratitude. That so I think on balance, the answer is that we're more appreciated by the biker community than not appreciated. And there's always going to be, exceptions to the rule. But, on balance, we should be proud of the fact that they tune in every week and they can't wait to see what we do next.
Yeah. And I've made it a point, and I've said this before in interviews, that I keep the lines of communication open to that world. And regardless of the club or the patch, we're in touch. So if there's a beef, if there's something that they feel we're exploiting or we're doing wrong, there's communication up and down the line, so we're at least aware of that. And if we can correct, the example I use is that we had originally the guys were wearing shirts with the Sons of Anarchy on them, and the font that we were using, we got word there was an East Coast club that felt like that was their font. and that it was too much. It was too similar to what they had on their patches. So I heard that, and we made the adjustment. We changed the font enough to make them happy. We threw away all those shirts, and so it was that kind of stuff. And I think making those gestures and people knowing that we're listening, it just goes a long way. So and yes, it's definitely make believe, and we definitely take tremendous dramatic license. But ultimately we're trying to do the right thing. But this from Bob. What have you learned about yourselves personally from the characters you play on the show? Let's start with Bill.
That I'm just as big an asshole as he is. I think you have to be who that guy is somehow inside you. Otherwise, it doesn't work and nobody believes what you're doing. So, when the cross-dressing scene comes up, I'm not going to work out too well with that because it's not who he is.
Ryan?
A lot of what Opie does is kind of sit back and watch and take in, and that's something that in my personal life before doing this role was not omnipresent in my own life.
Right.
That's about it.
Yeah. Max?
I think I've gotten to plumb the depths of my own indecisiveness playing Tara. She's, just constantly in conflict and sort of like Opie, observing a lot and also observing herself. And so I feel like that actually is a big part of my nature, and I don't know that I ever was as aware of it as I am now. That aspect of that character is actually not, I don't have to work over hard to really get in there with it. I've learned that, yeah.
Dayton?
Well, I was just thinking that, Gemma is so...
Or Katie?
Did you say me?
I said Dayton, but that's okay.
I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
I thought you said me. Oh, well...
Tell me what I learned about myself.
No, you tell me. You go.
No,
I thought he said me.
I actually learned that I can like people again. I learned that I'm not afraid to, maybe show certain things or, and I can allow myself to go to places that I really want to go to because of your character and stuff. So learn a little bit like that.
Kate?
I think she's facilitated my getting in touch with my own rage, which I guess that's a good thing. I think that she is a person that has so sort of in touch with the violence in her life. I mean, this is a person that has grown up around violence. And, I think that as a woman, sometimes it's always hard to show my own anger, to show my own rage, to show my own, And so I think she's facilitated that. I've been able to be more in touch with that. And I love playing her. I mean, I find it so fascinating to go so dark and to be so terrified and cover it with so much rage, because I find that that's kind of her thing. She doesn't really, in so many ways, she's not. She doesn't ask herself the kind of questions that I would ask myself. So it's been an interesting journey.
What about you?
Well, it's what I learned. I try to say, well, why is this so tough? This should be much easier than it feels. But I've always been a guy who sees too many sides of the argument, whereas Clay only sees one side of the argument. And Clay is really, really clear and really ruthless about what he thinks about everything, almost everything. And that was a tough adjustment for me to make, but sees too many sides of the argument, whereas Clay only sees one side of the argument. And Clay is really, really clear and really ruthless about what he thinks about everything, almost everything. And that was a tough adjustment for me to make, but what I have ended up probably learning is that I'm kind of a head of a family. I got a wife and kids, and that sometimes it's better to not give a fuck what anybody thinks of your decision if you really feel it's for the greater good, and if you've done a lot of soul searching. It's harder for me to do the soul searching than it is for Clay. But if you've done a lot of soul searching and you feel as though this is really for the greater good, and God damn it, I may be wrong here, but I'm going to do this.
That's cool. Charlie?
I think I was just listening to everyone else. I think two things. I mean, one, kind of on a more superficial level, I discovered a love of riding and the sense of freedom that provides. But I guess more significantly, I've kind of historically been kind of a very emotional young man and a bit of a hothead, as I think Jax is, and yet he has, because of the position he's in, is forced to, fight his instinct a little more and try to figure out a more productive and a better way to handle difficult situations. And I guess that's maybe informed the way I handle myself a little bit in my personal life, which has, definitely been beneficial.
Cool. This next round of questions are actually for specifically to the actor. And I'm going to start with Theo. This is for Juice.
Damn it.
It'll be okay. You can.
I don't know why I picked this one. We already covered this. But this is from Boomshine. So you can pretty much see where the question's going.
Everyone.
And it says, Theo, just admit it, you really enjoyed the infirmary scene, didn't you?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll admit it. I enjoyed every moment of it. I mean, yeah. I mean,
You did have a certain glow after that
I
scene.
was floating. That was the smooth move day.
This is from Laura, who asks, would you ever consider doing a half-naked scene, and if so, which half?
Hi, yo.
Wow.
Laura wants Tommy.
Please say, not what I think.
Have you ever done a nude scene?
Yeah.
You have?
I look spectacular. Michael's David, I looked like. Michelangelo's David, I was like. But half of the show, I mean, I'm sorry, but I don't want to show that bomb because that'd be like, overwhelming for people. So, but the top half.
Not just your cut?
That's fantastic.
Oh my God, really? The human people really look like that?
People would be rewinding to the point of cramping themselves.
I feel awful after that question.
This is from Norman from Columbus, Ohio. Opie's tattoo runs from collarbone to collarbone. What does it read and why?
The center will not hold or cannot hold. Anarchy is the only hope. The first part of it is a line from a poem, The Second Coming, which is...
Yeats.
Yeats, that's right. So let me see if I can remember it. What was it? Whirling and whirling in the widening gyre. Something, the center cannot hold, and mere anarchy is loosed upon the world. That was number one. And then Anarchy is Our Only Hope is the Stones, Rolling Stones. So I took the two of them and put them together.
Wow.
This question is for Boone from Robin. Bobby had a fling with Luann, but will he ever have a love interest? And if so, who and why?
I certainly look forward to, a chance to do something along those lines. I had the beginnings of a scene with Taryn.
Taryn, that's right.
That was shot in about 15 minutes, so I didn't really have a chance to develop, I don't think. But, Bobby, obviously, you've given him a couple of wives and he's kids, and he's obviously a sexually active
player.
Right.
A player.
I will tease though that in season 3, we're going to meet one of Bobby's ex-wives.
I was waiting for that.
Yes,
yeah,
yes.
I'd like that to run into that.
For this is for Bill. From Gil.
Gil with one L or two?
One L.
Oh.
G-I-L. Why are you the only member riding a 3-wheeler And from this, I'd like you to spin off and tell us your infamous motorcycle story.
Well, I'm the only one riding a three-wheeler because I'm a pansy. And no, it's I'm riding one because when Kurt, when I first met Kurt, and they were talking about this show, and he said, "What do you think about motorcycles?" And I said, "I never think about motorcycles." And he said, "Well, it's a show about motorcycles." And I said, "I'm aware of that, but I still don't think about them much." And the reason I don't think about them much is that when I was doing a picture called Harold and Maude years ago, before anybody here was born.
Oh.
And I went off a bridge on a motorcycle at 80 miles an hour.
Playing a cop, right?
Playing a cop.
You were the originally cast as the
exactly.
cop. Right.
And I was in a body cast, hip cast for 2 years. And not only did the picture business forget me, I forgot me. And it was just devastating. And so I thought, you know, I'll move out of town because they said they were going to cut my leg off. And if they do, I can start an insurance business and use a wooden leg and thump it on the table and tell them, see, you need to be careful. Brilliant. At the time we started this, I had a steel rod still in my leg from that accident, which I have since had removed because they say if you go off they said don't fall off of something, Bill, because all this will do is bend and then we'll have to cut it open again. So I had it removed and I had to have 2 knee replacements. So I wouldn't be averse at this point to riding a two-wheeled bike because it's just
you have 2 new knees, right?
Exactly, and it's not that tricky a thing to do. Right. It's just that I just didn't have any real interest in it. And then I thought, well, Piney's got this, you know, he's breathing, whatever, right. And what's he going to do? Leap tall buildings with a single bound? Right. And I was also hopeful that I'd be able to carry, you know, like weapons, bombs, and shit on the thing. You know, be a more kind of weird terrorist character.
That's a good idea.
Dayton, it seems Unser is having a hard time retiring. Do you think he wants to remain on the job?
I think he's one of those guys that bitches and moans and, you know, about overworked and this shit and that, but the last thing he wants to do is go to a golf course.
Can you relate to that?
Yeah, I guess I can relate to that.
I will say that when we revealed that Dayton's character had cancer, Dayton came up to me and said, you know, my old man was in remission for 11 seasons. I mean, 11 years.
No, it was 7.
7, okay.
And it's true.
This is for Katie. From actually, Dayton's question was from Robert. This is from Divo, D-I-V-O, who would like to know, you seem like a natural playing Gemma, but do you ever have a hard time playing her?
She's different from me, so some days it definitely, I have to remind myself, this is not me. Mm-hmm. You know, so my reactions and my responses in any given situation are not my own. So, and sometimes that is when you're playing a character for so long, I just have to remind myself of that, you know, my impulse is not her impulse. So on those, you know, sometimes there's challenges to that. Yeah.
Gemma is much more like me than she is.
That's what you told me, actually. Yeah. You said that he's actually Gemma.
Okay, we'll leave that one.
And scene.
Sort of.
This is for, This is for Maggie from Jeff. Sex, motorcycles, porn. What's it like working on such a testosterone-filled set, and was it difficult as an actress to embrace this world?
The beauty of our set is that everybody is, we're like a little family, so, you know, I love everybody. So the sort of, so playing the world isn't hard when the people around you are people. So playing the world isn't hard when the people around you are people that you love and respect.
This is for Ron Perlman. The fight scene between you and Jax in prison was awesome. How did you prepare for it? This is from Laura.
At my age, you basically go for it so that you never have to shoot a second take. And that was my whole MO, was to just, like, you know, make it as brutal and real and, you know, make sure that the hand was coming across so that they were all real hits. without actually hitting the other actor.
Although it was around beat 4 that half my tooth got knocked out, right?
But
Although
that
that
was in
wasn't
a rehearsal.
that wasn't your
And
fault. That wasn't
I
with
had
you.
nothing to do with that.
No.
Although I tried to lighten the mood, which backfired.
There's another story.
That's a different story for a different
I wanna
day.
hear
But
that.
in my memoir, that story will be. Anyway,
Hyperbolized.
right. My story, my memoir, which is currently being peddled, called Easy Street the Hard Way. But no, I mean it was. Thank you for liking the fight. It was.
It was a good fight. It was an awesome fight.
Charlie, I will say that Charlie and I both ended up paying a heavy physical price when it was over with. Charlie more than I, because he actually chipped a tooth in a rehearsal, which I wasn't involved in.
With a stuntman.
With a stuntman, with a guy who should have known way
Not
better.
to slam my face into solid metal bars, but, you know, these things happen.
Oops.
This is for Charlie from Janice. The sex scenes between Jax and Tara are pretty hot and heavy. How do you guys make it look so real?
You know, as with everything, as with all of the work I think that everyone does on the show, we just try to approach it honestly and give it our all. I mean, I don't know. Really, we just we just do what Kurt writes and try to make it honest and real.
These are questions actually for me, just in general questions for the show. When you came up with the idea for the show, did you know where you wanted it to go, or did you just have a vague idea? Yeah, the general mythology, I know what the broad strokes are, but you know, I learned so much about my show through my actors and the performance. You know, you write something, you come up with an idea, you put it on the page, and you know, when I watch it in post, it's always something. You know, the actors always bring something else to it, and the directors always bring something else to it, and that really feeds my interpretation and you know and vision for the show. You know, so I do have broad strokes, but I really, you know, I've been so informed by so much by performance and about, you know, who these people are becoming as a result of having great actors. That last question was from Randy. This question is from Maria in New York. Who is responsible for the SOA colors and the art of the patches? Charlie, you want to field that one?
Sure. I was with John Linson, who was one of the producers of the show and very instrumental early on. We were up north, and he was introducing me to a little bit of the reality of this world, introducing me to a few motorcycle clubs and some people. And while we were up there, John was getting a lot of work done by a terrific tattoo work by a terrific tattoo artist called Freddie Corbin. And we were just kind of sitting around and you know, I was admiring his work, and I just kind of threw it out there in a way that I didn't think it would really stick. I said, oh, you know, it'd be really great if you know, designed our patch for us. You know, and I assumed that it had already been designed, and that, you know, it was really just kind of, I was just talking out loud, and then whatever happened, I don't know if you talked to Freddie or...
John did, yeah.
John talked to Freddie,
yeah.
And the next thing he knew, I mean, he took the idea and ran with it, and very swiftly came up with a pretty fantastic design that ended up being our patch.
What made you highlight the fact that there are still Irish Republican groups engaged in armed combat from Lane? You know, for me, from the jump, the relationship that the Sons had with the Provost, or now the real IRA, was instrumental to how the club got into gun running. So that was always in my mind part of the mythology, and ultimately I knew if we had the time and the show continued that, you know, we would really get into the history of that, and we will. In season 3, we learn a lot about the mythology of the backstory of how the Sons got involved with the IRA through John Teller, and all that will be revealed in season 3.
Wow.
So stay tuned. Are you ever going to publish John Teller's book so the rest of us can read it? when the show is done, and I'm toying with the idea of actually sitting down and writing that book, but that book does not exist. I would just sort of write what I needed for each script, based on, I don't know.
Who was that question from?
That was from Joe. I know you and the rest of the cast are professionals, but is there ever a time you would like to smack Ron Perlman upside the head for kissing and fondling your wife?
What was that?
And I got that.
Yeah, who's that from?
That's from.
That's from Opal.
It's from Ron's wife. It's from Lisa, and I got that question a lot about the scene with Tig and about the rape scene, and I just have one word to answer that: foreplay.
What? That is really. This is my husband. Kurt, that's a bad answer.
No, it's Look, here's the great thing. Here's the great thing. What overrides relax. What overrides any uncomfortableness about all that is the fact that I just think you and Ron have like amazing chemistry. Like when I see the two of you on screen, I believe, and I don't mean this, I believe that you guys fuck the shit out of each other. I believe that you love each other. I believe that there's through the years that you guys have kept this relationship, on fire. And yeah, nobody, it's just part of the gig. But, to me, that's really the exciting part about watching that stuff is that I believe that, you guys have this relationship. And that's rare, No, I love you. I love you. And that's rare, and the same thing with Jackson Tara, man. I just, it's rare to find that chemistry. You turn on the TV, man. It's hard to find that in movies as well, but definitely in TV. So
I have to say, you make it so easy with the writing. It's so vivid and it's so clear what colors we're supposed to play. There's not a whole lot of stretching involved in getting to where it's all on the page. So
I want to take a moment now to do something. We've had in the last week we've had 2 birthdays within our cast, and the head of the MC celebrated 2 big birthdays.
2 milestone birthdays.
2 milestone birthdays. Is that right?
Oh.
I want to thank everybody. This has been a blast for me. I love you guys. I love hanging out with you guys, and it's great to sort of do this and let the fans weigh in and sort of see how we work. And I want to thank our fans and yes, Tom.
Sorry to interrupt.
Yeah.
Can I just say that most of us ride motorcycles off the show, and I had a very near scrape recently. I just want to say that, please, if you're going to ride a motorcycle, be careful. There's a lot of assholes on the road. So look, 10 cars in front and 10 cars behind, and take care when you roll. Thank you very much.
That was Tommy's PSA.
It's a good PSA.
But so I just want to thank everybody, and I'm really excited about season 3. So thank you to all of you.